What's good? It's your boy Jay. That's me. Let's dive into AEW Dynamite from April the 24th, 2024. We're going to go ahead and talk about the massive angle that took place involving Tony Khan and the Elite, because that's the only important thing that took place on this show. So, Tony Schiavone, he welcomes Jack Perry to the ring. So, the crowd chants Crimea River. So Jack Perry said, he's had some of the best moments of his life right here in Jacksonville, but tonight he has business to handle. Right here, right now, with Tony Khan. So Tony Khan, he comes out. The crowd chants, he's our scapegoat. So Jack Perry addresses how AEW has grown. So Jack Perry says him and Tony Khan have not seen eye to eye, but from the bottom of his heart, he wants Tony to know he's only had AEW's best interest in mind. So he asked Tony to shake his hand. Let's move on. Let's change the world together. So Tony Khan and Jack Perry, they shake hands. Then Jack Perry hugs Tony Khan, and then he looks into the hard cam with a sly smirk on his face. He then raises the hand of Tony Khan, and then he punches Tony Khan in the gut with a microphone. So the Elite, they rush out to check on Tony Khan. They shove Jack Perry. Then the Young Bucks, they're about to tease an EVP trigger, but Okada, he gives the thumbs up signal to lay out Tony Khan. So then the Young Bucks hit the Tony Khan driver. So this is great. Then officials, they come out to the ring along with referees, and they try to shoo away the Young Bucks. So the Young Bucks, they start to mock the Jacksonville crowd. And I think it was Matthew Jackson that said, "It's our time now. This is our company," or something like that. So then the rest of the AEW roster, they come out. Little mid-card guys, they come out. And then we see Shahid Khan, the god of AEW. He comes out. He exists. And he's shocked. And I'm like, oh, shit. Wow. And that's how we ended the show. So this was actually pretty solid. This gives us a cliffhanger. And this is very intriguing, because I figured something like this was going to happen, because it was announced earlier on in the show that Kenny Omega is supposed to appear next week. And so this was a hot angle, a really good angle. I know Tony Khan said in the past that he was against doing this and being an on-screen character, but he's desperate as fuck, so he has to do this. This was a last resort. AEW's been in the mud for months now. They've not hit 1 million views in quite some time, in well over a year. They typically sit around the 700 to 800K range. And so this angle is good. Now, I'm pretty sure this is going to involve a series of matches. So Kenny Omega's coming back next week. Maybe we see the Motor City Machine Guns come out and they help Kenny. And then we might see Hangman align with Kenny as well. I know people have talked about having Swerve and Hangman. As of right now, I wouldn't do that. I think that Hangman's services are needed with this inner turmoil, the elite versus the anti-elite. And I think that's going to be cool when it happens. This is a story that needs to be carried for a year. If they can't do a year, they should at least run this until full gear. So maybe that's when everything pays off, is at full gear. So you have a good 7 months for this stuff to continue on and take place. You know, we could have matches involving the Young Bucks and the Mercy Machine Guns when they come on in, if they come in. You can have some one-on-one matches. You could do Kenny Omega and Okada. You could do Jack Perry and Kenny Omega. You could do Jack Perry and Hangman. So this is cool. This is great. I actually like this, and this gets people talking. I'm very intrigued with what's going to happen next. So this was good. This was really good. This was beautifully done to an extent. And this does get people talking. This does give AEW some good publicity. And I'm on board to see where this goes. This is going to have to be a long-term, thought-out story. This can't be rushed. And we need to get a bunch of matches out of this. I'm talking about 8-man tags, 6-man tags, singles matches. This needs to carry AEW from now until the end of the year. I'm serious. Moving on from that, we kicked off the show with we kicked off the show with the Elite. They arrive via Uber. So it's Jack Perry, the Bucks, and Okada. They arrive. So that was, cool. We've already talked about that. Orange Cassidy was about to have a match, but he was taken up by Trent Beretta. And then Trent Beretta, he gets on the mic. He talks some crap. He said he's tired of Orange Cassidy, tired of being his lackey. Then he wants Chuck Taylor to come down. Chuck Taylor just says he's tired of his shit. And he wants to fight Trent Beretta at Rampage. Okay, this is lame as fuck. All this is just Rampage shit. Like, this didn't need to even be on television. But it is what it is. This is AEW. This is how AEW was 5 years ago. This is how it was back in 2019. This is what this episode felt like. Moving on. So, Jon Moxley, he's backstage. So, he addresses the the IWGP, whatever, championship match set for tonight. He's saying he's aware of what's at stake and what awaits him of Powerhouse Hobbs and Don Callis family. Jon Moxley says he's ready to march through hell to defend the title. Tonight, Jon will remind the world who he is, and when he takes the air out of the Powerhouse's lungs, they're going to feel it from Jacksonville to Japan. Okay, who gives a shit? Swerve Strickland defeated Kyle Fletcher. What the fuck are we doing? This is lame as fuck. This is a waste of time. I feel bad for Swerve. Swerve should have been the first thing that we saw going into Dynamite. Swerve showed up to work. Swerve should have showed up to cut a 10-minute promo, talk about what the championship means to him, how he's going to elevate the title, and everything in between, and set up something for him at Double or Nothing. Preferably a rematch between Samoa Joe and Swerve. That didn't happen. It should have happened, but it didn't. Swerve had to go into work to wrestle. A waste of time. And then people are going like, oh, well, we're going to get this next week. We're going to get Swerve's speech next week and Celebration next week. It's like, no, that's a waste of fucking time. It's a waste of time. I feel bad for Swerve. Already, he is like 4th place of importance when it comes to AEW. And not only that, Swerve and Kyle Fletcher, they had a 15-minute match. What the fuck's going on? Swerve should have beaten Kyle Fletcher in about 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Swerve wins via the house call. Moving on. So, Renee Paquette, she's talking backstage to Thunder Rosa. She talked about her shortcomings of winning the AEW Women's Championship at Dynasty. So Thunder Rosa, she brings up Deonna Purrazzo. She starts to address things, and then out of nowhere, Deonna Purrazzo, she shows up. They start bitching and moaning, and then they have a little shoving contest. And then they're going to have a match, Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo, not on Dynamite, not on Collision, but on Rampage. Fuck that. I ain't watching it. Moving on. So, Mina, Shikakara, she defeated Anna Jay. So, Mina is the female who was the tag partner of one Mariah May, who had an awesome lip lock with Mariah May last week. More of that. So, she wins. Post-match, Anna Jay choked out both Mariah May and Mina. But Toni Storm came out to make the save. And Serena Deeb, who's good and who's pretty okay, she shows up. And we couldn't hear what she was saying at all, because why? The audio on Dynamite sucks ass. It's been like this for 5 fucking years. So, she basically wants to face Toni Storm at Double or Nothing. But that, to me, feels like a match you would have either on a Collision or a Dynamite. That's just me. Moving on. So, Willow Nightingale, she had a celebration. So, it's Stokely Hathaway and Chris Statlander, they're out there. So, we get some bars from Patrice Coleman. So, he's there, that's cool. So, Willow, she gets on the mic. She talked about being in the crowd of the spring of 2020, trying to catch a break. In 2022, she's in the ring as they announced Willow Nightingale is All Elite. But tonight, she's the face of TBS. So, Mercedes comes out. Mercedes Mone, she comes out. She gets on the mic. She tells Jacksonville to say hello to their CEO. So, Willow cuts her off, saying that if she has something to say, she needs to say it now. Mercedes says she's here to congratulate her and that she should enjoy her time as champion because at Double or Nothing, the CEO will be holding that title. More than anything, Mercedes wants to know if Willow attacked her a few weeks ago and she called her a bitch. So there's a quick blame game that takes place, and then Willow brings everything back by wanting to know if Mercedes is truly blaming her for her injury last year. So Mercedes runs down Willow before saying she doesn't think Willow knows the answer to that. Willow addresses the doubts she had following the New Japan match last year, but there are no doubts about being the TBS champion come Double or Nothing. She wants Mercedes to be 100% so she can prove she can beat Mercedes But Mercedes insists that Willow is no match for the CEO. So then Mercedes, she turns away. Chris Statlander grabs her, and then Mercedes turns around and slaps the shit out of Willow. And then officials, they come in to break things up. So this is fine. I actually like this. Willow's getting better on the mic. She is. Mercedes, she now has something to fight for and something to talk about. So this was all good. It's interesting to see where this goes. We have 4 weeks until Double or Nothing. So maybe we'll figure out the whodunit before Double or Nothing. Or maybe at Double or Nothing. Who knows? But this was an okay segment. Moving on. So, more Elite stuff. Alex Morez was trying to talk to the Elite. Moving on. So, we had a casino gauntlet match, which is weird. It's like a Royal Rumble, but it's a gauntlet match. So, it involved, all the low mid-card guys from Kyle O'Reilly to Penta, Dante Martin, and so many others. Jay White was in the mix as well. Will Ospreay came out. Lance Archer was there. And who else was there? Commander was there as well. Jay Lethal was there as well. So, towards the end of the match, Will Ospreay was about to go for the Tiger Driver 91, but he hesitated. And he won via the Hidden Blade. He pinned Commander. So he's going to be taking on Roderick Strong for the AEW International Championship at Double or Nothing. So Roderick Strong comes down along with the rest of the guys of the Undisputed Kingdom, and they stare down Will Ospreay. Okay, cool, I guess, but it's not really all that important. Moving on from that. So Chris Jericho, he's out next. The Learning Tree Chris Jericho. So he's got a new theme song. So Chris Jericho says hello to everyone. He talked about hyping up his win, about how the FTW Championship will now stand for the world. As this title's all about the people, Chris Jericho talks about he's doing God's work, and by that he means the God of professional wrestling. Terry Funk. He thanks the fans before thanking Hook for being a great champion, except he still needs to take things away from the Learning Tree. Hook needs to cut the dead weight around him, like his pops, Taz, and Shibata. And he needs to listen to Jericho when he tells him to stay down. He says Hook forced him to hit the former champ with a baseball bat, but that's on him. Jericho knows that Hook is sitting at home thinking about these lessons, and that's good. There are so many people that came out better from the lessons of the Learning Tree. So, W Morrissey comes out, a.k.a. Big Bill. So, W Morrissey says that he's been listening to Chris Jericho in the back, and he only has one thing to say. He needs the guidance of the Learning Tree. Everyone knows that Jericho is the Socrates of pro wrestling, always willing to help younger and less experienced talent and building them up. W. Morrissey knows that there's a long line of guys who'll be looking to be a part of the Learning Tree, but there's nobody bigger than W. Morrissey, and nobody better fit to learn from the Learning Tree. Deep down, Chris Jericho knows that W. Morrissey is the best fit for the Learning Tree. Jericho said he's going to keep an eye on W. Morrissey, who tells the Learning Tree to watch him. Chris Jericho says he'll watch W. Morrissey, and he'll be watching all the fans as they celebrate together. So this is fine. This actually makes sense. This is basically just going back into how Jericho was with the Jericho Appreciation Society and all that. So this is okay, but it is what it is. Not really all that important. Who cares? Moving on. So Don Callis, he's backstage. He congratulates Will Ospreay on earning a title shot at the AEW International Championship. So this turns into an argument over Ospreay refusing to use the Tiger Driver 91 before Don Callis storms off. So this actually makes sense. I'm pretty sure Don Callis is probably going to convince the other members of the Don Callis family to turn on Will Ospreay. Okay, cool. Not really, though. Main event of the evening, Jon Moxley defeats Powerhouse Hobbs via a rear naked choke. And we all knew that Will Hobbs was going to lose this anyway. It wasn't even all that important. This was just a waste of time. But it is what it is. Nothing can be done. This episode of Dynamite was not good. It was all over the place. And it was actually a waste of time outside of what happened at the end of the show. Other than that, it was a complete waste of 2 hours. But it is what it is. There were a couple of interesting things that took place. Mercedes and Willow, that was pretty decent. The Elite angle was decent as well. The dissension between Will Ospreay and the Don Callis family, that's okay. But other than those three things, everything else on the show was just a waste of time. And I feel bad for Swerve. I really, really do. But what did you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.